This is the monthly meeting of the El Paso Community College Board of Trustees. I want to welcome everyone to our meeting. Everyone at home who likes to watch this meeting from home can link to www.youtube.com/user/go-EPCC. I want to call the meeting to order. Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Here.
Ms. Sanchez.
Here.
Dr. Graham.
Here.
Ms. Naheda.
Here.
Mr. Haggerty.
Here. Okay, if I could please have Ms. Shaughnessy lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, 1.4, Pam?
Item 1.4, approval of minutes. We're talking about the minutes of August 6th, the special Board of Trustees meeting, and the regular Board of Trustee meeting on August the 29th.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
I, on August 6th, abstain on the 29th because I wasn't here.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone, guests and staff members. 1.6, open forum. Do you have anyone, Pam?
We don't have anyone signed up for open forum, sir.
Okay, 1.7.
Item 1.7, presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations. Item 1.7.1, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association.
Good evening, Chair Haggerty, members of the board, President Serrata, staff, and guests. I'm Laura Gaither, President of Classified Staff Association. First, I would like to express our gratitude and thank the board, President Serrata, and Cabinet for the 5% raise as well as the incentive we received at the end of the fiscal year. Second, I don't know if any of our officers are in the audience, as some are not able to leave work, but I will announce our officers for fiscal year 2022 to 2023. At ASC, for rights and responsibilities, are Cynthia Arras and Elvira Fernandez. Public Relations Officer is Jesse Arellano, and our Treasurer is Laura Estrada. At Valle Verde, rights and responsibilities, Laura Gonzalez, Jasmine Amezcua, and Leticia Montoya. Our Vice President there is Norma Salas. At Rio Grande, our Vice President is Eva Rangel. At Mission del Paso, our Secretary Officer is Cecilia Montoya, and our Vice President is Cynthia Cabariti. At Northwest Campus, our Rights and Responsibilities Officer is Kim McBroom, and myself, President of Classified Staff. Third, we would like to inform everyone that we will be having a turkey drive in the month of November, and we will be choosing 3 organizations to donate the turkeys to. We will be choosing these in October. In December, we hope to sponsor the annual Christmas dance as well. We will be sending the announcement at a later date for each event, determining the due date for the turkeys and ticket sales. We will also be sending the announcement for Employee of the Year in this coming month and hope that we will receive more applications than we have in the past for full-time and part-time classified staff employees. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, Dr. Serrata, Board Chair Judge Haggerty, esteemed board members, staff, and guests. My name is David Zamora. I am the Student Government President of the 2022-2023 school year. I would like to take a minute to introduce my cabinet, Mr. Armando Baca, our Vice President, Rio Grande Senator Edna Payan, Vallaverde Senator Edgar Marrero, Vallaverde Senator Janelle Contreras, and Vallaverde Senator Irving Benoit. SGA participated in the QEP, helping make students aware of their slogan, Find Your Way, Connect, Discover, and Succeed. Student government has also set a goal to register 1,000 students during our term. I would also like to highlight an event which Rio Grande Senator Edna Payan is taking the lead in scheduling a political debate for District 8 representative at the Rio Grande campus in the Little Temple on October 18th at 4 p.m. We are currently in the process of welcoming all newly elected SGA members and look forward to a successful school year with the support from Dr. Amaya and especially our advisor, Coach Hinojosa. Thank you for your time.
Congratulations.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Mr. President, vice presidents, deans, guests in the room, guests in YouTube land. As has been discussed here by me rather vociferously, Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and his minions have declared war on tenure in Texas public colleges and universities. Patrick wishes to cleanse Texas higher education of, quote, loony Marxist professors, of which apparently we all are to him, and replace those who have fallen by the wayside with loony Patrick professors, who will teach their subjects based on Patrick's preconceived propaganda. However, some relief within the Texas government appears to be in sight. According to the Austin America Statesman of September 24, 2022, the Speaker of the Texas House of Representatives, Dade Phelan, who is of the same political party as Patrick, has stated he opposes Patrick's proposal to end tenure for all new professors and to revoke tenure for faculty who teach critical race theory. Phelan said, and I quote, "I respectfully disagree with Patrick," adding that he's gotten feedback that Patrick's proposal would make it more difficult for universities to recruit professors with conservative viewpoints who benefit from the protection tenure provides for professors to freely and openly share their ideology. The article quotes Brian McCall, Chancellor of the Texas State University System, who said he didn't believe lawmakers would eliminate tenure because it would put the state at such a disadvantage. McCall also said, tenure exists for a reason, and that is to get thought out. We are not running Vacation Bible School. The article states, several free speech advocacy groups and Texas faculty organizations have condemned Patrick's proposal, arguing that it would make Texas public universities less competitive, discourage prospective faculty members from moving to the state, and limit people's free First Amendment rights of free speech. University of Texas President Jay Hartzell is quoted in the article saying, academic freedom must be preserved, and that tenure allows faculty to focus on the incredible rather than incremental. He said removing tenure would cripple Texas's ability to recruit and retain great faculty members. Tenure is an essential tool for attracting world-class scholars that enables them to take risks and big ideas. Hopefully, this high-level opposition to Patrick and his thought and morality police will convince or force Patrick to back down from his attempt to restrict faculty to teach only what Dan Patrick seems appropriate. Patrick and his henchmen lackeys must be stopped. Of course, the best way to do this is simply to vote this would-be petty, tyrannical dictator out of office this November. Thank you.
Thank you. 1.8, Pam?
I'm going to read and a retiree that is here. It is listed in back under section 3.1. So at this time, Dr. William Serrata, college president, will recognize individuals who have retired from the college district.
Okay.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, these are always bittersweet moments, and so we'll recognize one retiree today, and I see that he's in attendance at the very back of the audience, Mr. Leo Pineda. In 1966, after completing his first year of college at Sul Ross State University in Alpine, Texas, Mr. Leo Pineda was drafted into the U.S. Army, serving a tour in South Vietnam. After receiving an honorable discharge, he resumed his studies, majoring in industrial arts and minoring in education and teacher certification. He worked as a general mechanic while completing his bachelor's degree. He then started his graduate studies, married his wife, Ana Cervantes, and began teaching in the Presidio Independent School District. Mr. Pineda began teaching at El Paso Community College in August 1973 as an instructor in automotive technology. El Paso became home for him and his wife, and eventually their 3 children, Pedro, Cristina, and Angelica. At that time, the college was not yet able to pass a bond issue for the purpose of building a campus. Consequently, the automotive facility and a host of other programs were located at Fort Bliss in the Logan Heights area. Mr. Pineda, as well as many other faculty members, including classified staff and top administrators, worked diligently in canvassing El Paso neighborhoods to help promote a bond issue initiative that eventually passed and several campuses became a reality. Mr. Pineda completed his master's in education secondary level in 1977. In 1979, he became the program coordinator for automotive technology at the new Valle Verde campus. He served in this position for 25 years. During his initial years as program coordinator, he developed 2 new additional automotive credit programs that included the automotive parts technician and an auto apprenticeship program. In 1985, Mr. Pineda was offered the position of special programs coordinator at the Rio Grande SBDC facility. One of his primary duties included responding to RFP proposals and implementing the awarded grants. Some of these programs included a summer youth program and at-risk programs designed to assist high school dropouts and adjudicated individuals. Grant funding for these programs eventually grew to approximately $1.5 million annually. In 1990, Mr. Pineda returned to his faculty position, and shortly after that, he began serving as the coordinator for the distance learning grant program under Dr. Jenny Giron. During this period, he also developed a procedural manual for the delivery and evaluation of distance learning and instruction. After returning to his faculty and coordinator duties, he was instrumental in the development and implementation of the drivability technician program. He submitted a proposal to Dr. Farias, Dean of Education and CTE, that outlined and identified several viable training programs for a transportation facility based on a previous transportation industry study he had conducted. This was instrumental in the final design and eventual reality of our present-day transportation training center. Mr. Pineda is retiring after 50 years in the education field. His first year was with Presidio Independent School District and the remaining 49 years with El Paso Community College. First, he would like to thank the college for the support given to him and his family during his recent family crisis. Additionally, he would like to thank all his friends, colleagues, college staff, and administrators, past and present, for all their help and support freely given over the past 5 decades. Finally, he would like to gratefully thank myself, thank you, Mr. Pineda, members of the board and the El Paso Community College for all the opportunities and learning experiences afforded him during their tenure. Mr. Pineda, thank you for your dedication to the college district. We wish you a happy retirement. So I have shared with Mr. Pineda that my mother's maiden name is Yolanda Pineda, so certainly appreciate that. I would imagine some far-off distance relations, but congratulations. Yes, sir.
Item 1.8, Communications. Item 1.8.1, Discussion and Review by the Board of Trustees of Data, Statistics, Policies, and General Information related to the College District.
You don't have any?
Excuse me, what was that one again? Which one? 1.8.
Have anything for us? Jen?
This would be where Mr. Flores is going to be making a presentation.
Don't everybody rush up to the podium at once.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, financial transparency has been something that the college has prided itself on, and so we've asked Mr. Flores to provide a presentation as part of the board's request to have more data presented. Mr. Flores will cover our financial transparency initiatives. Mr. Flores, please.
Chair Haggerty, Dr. Serrata, members of the board, I would like to present on financial transparency, building trust, demonstrating competence through collaboration. Because the college receives funds from so many sources, it is vitally important to demonstrate that we use them in an effective manner. Financial transparency is not something that happens once and done, but to be effective, it is a result of many years of reporting accurate and timely information with consistency. The goal of financial transparency is to increase the trust and the confidence that stakeholders have in the college's ability to manage these resources. Consider that the college's operating budget is more than $158 million. Last year, we brought in more than $77 million of federal funds. In 2016, we had a revenue bond issuance of over $105 million, with premium about $119 million came in, actually. And we have over $234 million of furniture, fixtures, and equipment, land, and buildings. As stewards and recipients of funds from property owners, students, state of Texas, bondholders, and state and federal agencies, there are many interested parties that benefit from EPCC having information that is disclosed in an easily accessible manner to all its constituents. The public needs to believe that there is value derived from the use of all these funds. In addition, to assist the Board of Trustees in their important endeavors to lead the district, it is incumbent upon college staff to provide, to inform and provide relevant information to aid them in their important task of decision-making. El Paso Community College, as a public junior college and a political subdivision of the state of Texas, receives funds from many different sources. So we're subject to many federal and state laws, and there is considerable reporting that needs to happen to a variety of agencies like the Department of Ed, Department of Labor, TRS, ERS, IRS. It's an alphabet soup of different agencies, to name a few. I said, demonstrating transparency and competence. The task is said easier than done. There are many key elements of financial information that are needed to meet the financial transparency needs of the various stakeholders of the college. I'm going to review some of the major financial activities that college stakeholders would be interested in to demonstrate good financial planning and management of the college's considerable financial resources. The fact that the college has a financial transparency website speaks to EPC's willingness to be transparent and open about its financial information. A little bit later in the presentation, we're going to visit the financial transparency website. Certainly having a transparent budget development process goes a long way to informing stakeholders. Our budget development process covers about an 8-month period, includes various presentations to the Board of Trustees. I think this last year there were 3 presentations that were given to the board. And these presentations may involve discussions about raising tuition or taxes, providing valuable information during these presentations to stakeholders. Culminates with the public adoption of the budget by the Board of Trustees. Ours was done in August. The results are a budget book that is distributed widely with a lot of very good information. Once you have the budget adopted, then there's a matter of successfully managing the operating budget. So we have seen that there have been challenges, and so there can be outside forces that immediately test the abilities. And so we demonstrate budgetary controls by having competent leadership. As we saw during the pandemic, there had to be some constraints and controls put in place as a result of that outside force. Also, staying within the budget is a very important item demonstrating competency and developing trust by doing that year over year. Growing fund balance is also very important. There are many things that happen during the year that reflect successful management of operating budget and that have happened in the past. Presenting monthly financial statements to the board is another way that we demonstrate transparency. And the information that's presented compares budget to actual, shows where we are during the year on a monthly basis, comparing our budget to actual expenditures. Also included in the monthly financial statements are investment reports that are mandated to be presented to our board every quarter. We do this every month. We go a little bit beyond what is required, demonstrating our willingness to share this information openly with the board and the public that is viewing. And there are many other financial reports that are presented every month to the board in the financial statements. The next item is the annual external audit report. This is a huge source of information to all stakeholders because it involves an independent third party coming in and evaluating our financial numbers and testing our controls, and then rendering an opinion. So our external audit covers a 5-month commitment by staff and results in an opinion on our financial statements by the CPA firm. The opinion is very important because it shows that they have tested the veracity of our financial statement numbers and found no material misstatements in them. Also, there's an opinion about compliance with the Single Audit Act. That is very important because they test our federal grants and contracts. In addition, on that aspect of the audit, they test our internal controls. Eventually, it results in financial statements and many supporting schedules that disaggregate numbers that are in the financial statement, further providing additional information to stakeholders. And so the next bullet provides significant statistical information. This is another example of something that we didn't need to do in the audit, but the college has been doing this for a very long time, providing additional statistical information. This is going above what is required. The results of the annual financial report are distributed to all stakeholders. At the end, the audit report goes to the Federal Clearinghouse, which in turn makes it available to all the federal agencies, so wide distribution there. The audit report is also distributed to our rating agencies, who are constantly looking at our performance, because they have an obligation to the public to report related to our debt obligations. And then in January, it's culminated with a presentation to the Board of Trustees. So this process is very transparent and very comprehensive by a third party, resulting in a lot of very important information about the performance of the college. It did change. So this next slide is showing property tax rate information. So property tax rate information is very important to the citizens of El Paso because it touches almost everybody, whether they own a home or they rent a home. There's going to be a tax impact on somebody, on everybody. So we disclose during the budget presentations, Ms. Shaughnessy does actually, during the budget presentations, tax information as the budget moves forward. There's schedules that show tax rate history in there, and then there's the no new revenue tax rate that's discussed during budget presentations. So the budgets are a good source of property tax information that's communicated to the public. And so tax information is very important, and by law must be published on websites and should go out on public notices. We meet all those requirements every year. But that is good information to the citizens of El Paso as well. In addition, in the annual financial report schedules, there's tax information in there as well, as also assessed valuations. And that information that's presented in the annual financial report may cover like 10 years of information, so it'll show a lot of history there. So the annual financial report information then becomes part of the annual comprehensive financial report. So that information goes forward in that separate financial report as well. Then there's a variety of other regulatory disclosure information that we are required by law to disclose, but it's worth going over because it's a source of a lot of stakeholders' information that they are interested in knowing about. For example, we have to disclose our debt obligations related to our revenue bonds, and the majority of the information that I have on this slide will also be in the financial transparency page that we're going to look at in just a little bit. So we're required by law to disclose debt obligation information. Related to investments, the state auditor's office plays a big role in requiring many disclosures from us on investments, and that will be on the college website. There's an annual bond disclosure report that we do every year that discloses all the statistics related to raising revenue to pay off our debt, like the general use fee, enrollment, those types of things. In addition, state law requires us to publish once a year a newspaper report, in the newspaper, a financial report that discloses our financial position. We do that in November and December every year. Some of you may have seen that in the past. Also, law requires us to disclose our check registers. We have that on the website. And there's certain student card information the Department of Education requires that we disclose as well. And then there's the HERF grant expenditures that require disclosure by the Department of Education. And that has its own website within the college's site. And also, there's periodic press releases from Fitch Ratings and S&P Global that are transmitted nationwide, showing the results of our bond ratings. Recall that our last bond rating went from A+ to AA, and there was a press release that went out to various bond magazines and different agencies. So those are great sources of information for the public. And they've been done for many years to, which would help build the trust that our stakeholders have. Nothing helps build confidence in an entity like people that go above and beyond what they're required to do. So here's a couple of items that I would like to highlight, going higher than what is required. So the annual comprehensive financial report to GFOA has been done for 26 consecutive years. Nobody requires the college to do this. This has been done for a long time. Ms. Shaughnessy is been dogged in her pursuit of this report for a long time. But it reflects really well on the institution because this is going above and beyond what is required. And that helps to build the trust of stakeholders when they see what this entity is doing. In addition to that, our investment policy certificate from GTOT, we submit that every 2 years for certification from the government treasurers of Texas. And they go through it with they go through our investment policy with a fine-tooth comb to make sure we're in compliance with the Public Funds Investment Act. And so we have been doing this since 2002 and receiving that certification. That is going above and beyond what we have to do. But because we care that the investment policy be complete and comply, that demonstrates the length that we try to go to build trust from our stakeholders. So next, I'd like to go to the financial transparency webpage. But before I do, I'd just like to say that this webpage has been in existence since 2016. The college developed the financial transparency website that is on the college's main webpage that houses many financial reports, schedules, registers, and information that was deemed either useful to the public or required by the state law or an agency. The Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts has an award program called Transparency Stars, which recognizes local governments for going above and beyond their transparency efforts. Our current site meets many of the requirements of this program, and we plan to apply very soon and update our site to meet their requirements. After we do that, we're going to be one of 3 community colleges in the state of Texas that has met that additional requirement. Thank you. It helps when the switch is turned on. So this is the college's financial transparency website. The first section that we have here is, as I said, there's some mandatory information we need to have on a website. And this is information required by the state auditor's office. It talks about our investments and whether we use a brokerage or not. And we do not use a broker-dealer for our investments. We use investment pools. But we still have to put this paragraph in here per the guidance from the state auditor's office. In addition, the state auditor requires us to have our annual investment report on our website. And we have this, and we have many years of annual investment reports shown on this site. And so we use their form to show our investments. And for the year ended August 31st, 2021, this was our investments in the format prescribed by the state auditor's office. So we have many years of information there. At the very bottom, we show our certification from Government Treasurers of Texas. And here you see what it says about developing investment policy that meets the requirements of PFIA and the standards for prudent public investing. and it covers a period ending July 31st, 2024. So we're good for 2 years for this certification. And again, we've been doing this since 2002. In addition, we're required by the state auditor to put our quarterly portfolios out there. And we've been doing that for quite a while, as you can see by all the information that's showing below. So this shows for the quarter ended May 31st, our investment portfolio, signed off by the investment officers as identified in the investment policy. In addition, the state auditor requires that we put our investment policies online. We have ours here for anybody from the outside to look at if they wanted to. Here's CAK Local, and it was approved by our board on February the 14th, 2022. State auditor also requires that we have the contact in case there's any question. We identified their comptroller, Ms. Ana Zuniga, as the point of contact. In addition, we're required to disclose certain information related to our foundation and have a contact for the foundation as well. So that first section is largely complying with the state auditor requirements, but still, it's information that's very useful to the public. This next section is largely information that we have chosen to put out on the transparency website. So we have the annual budgets, and we have many years of the annual budget that is available for stakeholders to look at. These are rather large documents. Our budget book is about 800 pages, so I'm not going to. Also, we have the annual comprehensive report, financial report that's out here, and we have many years as well. And the annual comprehensive financial report has a letter of transmittal. It's about 25 pages long that details many other things about the college. It talks about economic conditions, enrollment, instructional initiatives, SACS compliance, student initiatives throughout the district. It's a very large piece of additional information that's available for stakeholders. If they wanted to learn anything and everything about the college, they could go to this report and gain a lot of insight. So this is the certificate that's awarded each year. This is the last certificate we received for the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. It's on the website as well. And we also have the legislative appropriation request. That happens every 2 years when we submit our request to the state for the appropriation from the state. So this is out there for review as well. This next category meets the requirement of trying to share with the public what our budget looks like, but in a very easily understandable manner. Instead of going through 800 pages, this particular slide shows our budget, expenditures, totaling 158 million, but it shows the functional areas that are benefiting from this budget. So it's a very concise presentation of our budget from the expenditure standpoint. Additionally, we show the budget by sources of revenue. Here you see the different revenue categories for the district. And if somebody wanted to know how our budget is funded, it is very clear and transparent. And also the percentages are shared with the public as well. So we're required to put our check registers online, and I won't click on those, but we have a lot of years of check registers. This is also a state requirement that we show our check registers. And I bypassed a very important area up here. The category is taxes. We publish our tax rates, and here's a copy of the notice that goes for publication, and that's as large as I can get that. But in here, it shows the no new revenue tax rate. It also shows the voter approved tax rate as well as the available fund balance is information that is found on this notice. And so we also put the order accepting the appraisal roll out there to show the valuation that this tax rate is being exercised on. And the order setting the tax rate. This is a very important piece of information because the city cannot levy taxes unless our board adopts the maintenance and operations tax rate. So this is telling the public that the board has taken action and the city is moving forward with collecting taxes. So we have the check registers that are out there for many years. This next section under contracts and procurement, we're required by the Department of Ed to disclose our agreement related to student credit cards. This is our agreement right here that we have available for the public to see. In addition, we're required to publish certain statistics regarding the use of the credit card. This link right here, we have the statistics related to the use of the credit card by students. And then down below, this is another state requirement that we disclose debt transparency. And so this link takes us to the Texas Comptroller's site. And after I get past this little bit of information, we're able to go to the site and look up El Paso Community College. And this site primarily pertains to GO debt, general obligation, tax-supported debt. We don't have any, so you're going to see below that for us, it's showing 0. However, it's an interesting slide. It's a little bit dated. It only goes back to 2020. The comptroller still needs to update this, but it's still interesting in that this chart right here shows El Paso Community College compared to other community colleges. So for us, it's showing that we have 0 in general obligation debt, but you look at some of the other colleges, it shows Collin Community College has $500 million in general obligation debt outstanding. South Texas, $128 million. San Jac, about $500 million in GO debt. Del Mar, which is a little bit smaller than us, has about $288 million of GO debt. Moving across here, Laredo, $129 million of debt. El Paso Community College has 0. The last time we did GO debt was in 1975. We did a bond issue for $19,700,000, which has long been paid off. So this is an interesting site for comparison purposes. The next site we're required to disclose as well, and this is a link also to the state, and it shows any other debt related to bonds that an entity might have. So as we look up El Paso Community College, and do a search on that, it should pop up our revenue bond information, and it did. So what it shows for us is for the Series 2016 revenue bond that we did, it's going to mature in 2042. We currently have principal outstanding of $105 million, and the interest that we will pay by 2042 will be almost $70 million to pay off that debt. In addition, we did the refunding issue in 2017. We will pay that off in 2025. We currently have principal outstanding of $15.7 million, and we will pay $833,000 in interest. So this is information that we are required to disclose, and we do on our transparency site. So we also have on our transparency site our Board of Trustees. We show our Chairman of the Board, Mr. Haggerty, as well as our Vice Chair, Dr. Graham, and our Secretary, Ms. Sanchez. And we have all the board members displayed on our transparency site. So that is our transparency website that we have to provide more information to our stakeholders. In addition, we have HERF information on our website, but on the financial aid side of the house. This is another Department of Ed requirement. We're required to disclose all of our HERF reporting, and we do that. So all of this couldn't happen without a really good team. So our CFO, Ms. Josette Shaughnessy, has assembled a very good financial team to help with all of these processes. So we have Mr. Juan Flores and Mr. Rick Labato. I talked about $234 million of furniture and equipment and buildings. Mr. Flores conducts grant inventories and physical inventories, helping us comply during the audit. Mr. Labato, when citizens drive by our campuses and look at our facilities, he's responsible for maintaining and keeping everything in a very presentable fashion. So they both contribute to the confidence that people have in us by keeping our facilities in good order. Then we have Dr. Andrew Pena, Executive Director of HR. He helps with the audit in certain areas, but he has certain disclosures that he does to the state that provide financial transparency information to anybody wanting to look at some LBB sites where he transmits information. And then Mr. Alex Hernandez. So this past Monday, there was an effective management training provided by this very team to the district over the course of the day, emphasizing controls and best practices at the college in relation to finance. Mr. Hernandez helped coordinate the EMS training. And so we appreciate that, and that's part of his duties as this team. On the bottom row, we have Ms. Ana Zuniga, our comptroller. She's also a CPA. Her area is knee-deep in the audits, the financial statements, investment reporting, very involved with all of that. And also with the ACT4, she helps with certain parts of that as well. Her area contributes a lot to financial transparency, mainly in those areas. Then Ms. Laura Tejas, who you all have met through the budget development process from February to October, resulting in the budget book. And then Ms. Audrey Ortigon is keeping us in compliance with Title IX. And then Mr. Ruben Gallardo, I talked about our operating budget of $158 million. Well, everything that's not payroll usually is impacted by the purchasing area. So he does, as a certified purchasing manager, he does a great job of keeping us compliant with the state rules and regulations on ordering and doing RFPs and those kind of things. And also the board agenda, I mean, a big part of the board agenda is comprised of financial information, and he has a lot to do with all of that information. I would be remiss if I didn't kind of adopt the grants area here, because they deal with grants and contracts, and the HERF funding, they Mr. Bob Elliott, under the leadership of AVP Carrie Moe, they contribute significantly to compliance. Our president, Dr. Sedata, frequently contributes to financial transparency. He provides updates to the Board of Trustees regarding legislative sessions. He's been doing this for many years and presenting at town hall meetings, State of the College address. He shares budget information and even breaks it down in more detail, and then presenting at community events regarding college initiatives. He has provided statuses of HERF awards and their uses at different meetings, and then leading the Facilities and Finance Committee at special board meetings regarding the status of the master plan, a huge contributor over many years to financial transparency. And then we have our Board of Trustees, who do an incredible job to gain the public trust and confidence by holding monthly public meetings that are broadcast to the El Paso community. There's a wealth of information that cycles through the board agendas, much of it financial. So that is very informative to stakeholders. Creating the Facilities and Finance Committee and holding regular public meetings to update themselves and the public on the use of bond-funded construction projects. And they make encouraging comments, like a particular board member will say, on time and under budget. During the adoption of the budget, we had a lot of questions related to taxes. One of our board members was answering constituent questions related to the EPCC tax rate and did a good job of responding. That goes far to raising the trust that the public has in its representation by our board members. So at that same board meeting, one of our board members opined about the no new revenue tax rate, elaborating on what that was and how it affected the public. That it was a great job of sharing with the public as well at this very public board meeting. So asking questions during budget presentations about the property tax revenue and whether it's conservative or not. And that's a great example of the board wanting to know and delving into the information. And demonstrating diligence and good stewardship of public funds by asking questions during budget presentations. All the board members do this, and it's appreciated by the audience, all the stakeholders. In summary, related to financial transparency, EPCC demonstrates good financial transparency by the wealth of information provided to stakeholders. It is a collective and collaborative effort to develop and build the trust for our stakeholders. So before I conclude, I would like to thank Ms. Shaughnessy for her input to this presentation, as well as her new executive office manager, Ms. Juanita Martinez, and Jackie Cabral. That concludes my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. Mr. Haggerty? John Uxer. If anybody else has a question, otherwise if you'll indulge me, because I want to talk a little bit more than just a question or two. If anybody else wants to go first.
Anybody else before John goes into another?
Okay. Another what?
No, go ahead.
Let me say that in opening, I really appreciate two comments that you made. First of all, in your opening statement, you talked about public funding, okay? And then later on, you talked about we need to be open to the public. So what I want to emphasize is that this is money from the public, okay? It's not our money, okay, first of all. So we get it directly, okay? We get it from tuition, okay? And tuition means that it's not we're charging the kids something. We have individuals coming and they're paying for a service. And if you want to think about it a little bit, if somebody is paying you to do something, then who works for who? So, you know, we get on, I've been a teacher, and we get on our deal, and I'm up for the class, and I'm the boss, except that everybody out there is paying me. So really, you know, you need to understand who is working for who. We get money directly from them. Second of all, we get the money from other government agencies. First of all, you get it from taxes. Well, the city doesn't have any way to generate money. What they do is they take it from us. The same people that are paying tuition. They take the money from you. It's your money, okay? So do that, and then the city, the nice thing about the city is that they do it directly. We have other government agencies that take money from us too, and the deal is that the further away the money goes, the more they collect in the process. So when it goes all the way to Washington, D.C., you can gather how much money we get back. Grants and everything else, where do they get the money? They get the money from purchasing or from activity, financial activity, but the money comes from the public. So who's that money? Okay, the money that comes to this is not ours. It's not ours to own. It's not the board's money to give away. We don't have the right and the privilege just to give it. It belongs to you, and we have a responsibility to do that directly, okay? So we have a responsibility, and we're not paid, but we're voted on, okay? And they expect us to use this money wisely, okay? It's our responsibility. Frankly, it's a lot like, let's say that the budget is there, but just because there's the funds there doesn't mean you get to spend it. And a real rough analogy, if you don't mind, is that I had a family member, rather remote actually, but as long as there was checks in the checkbook, she thought she could write it and use it, okay? That's not it. This money is the public's money, and it comes from people that don't even go to the college, that don't have kids go here, but yet they pay for it. And that said, as far as that kind of a lecture, what I want to do is ask Dr. Serrata if he would recall and tell us what the percentage of the total tax bill, and I think it really is a positive thing, but the percentage of the total tax bill that EPCC is, at least on the local level.
Sure, Mr. Uxer. With regards to anyone's tax bill, the average tax rate for El Paso Community College is 4.17%. So just over 4 pennies for every dollar that a taxpayer pays.
So I think that shows that there's responsibility, but we need to understand, hey, we're sitting up here and we do the budget and everything, but it's not our money. People vote for us, okay, but we're not spending our money. We're taking the money from somebody else, okay, or at least somebody's taking it, and we have a responsibility to disperse it. But we need to keep in mind that it's your money, and we need to do it responsibly. End of lecture.
Thank you, Mr. Uxer.
Whatever.
All I've got to say is I've been here for about 28 years, and I sleep very good at night because I know Josette and you are watching the money. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Hegarty. Takes a team.
Yes.
Oh, one other thing, just out of curiosity, are you shy? You didn't want to put your picture in the final page of the team? You and Mr. Gallardo were shy? You didn't want to have your picture up there? Huh?
Thank you.
No, I'm not shy. I didn't have a picture handy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Item 1.9, Board of Trustees business. Item 1.9.1 and item 1.9.2 will be discussed after executive session. Item 1.9.3, discussion and take possible action regarding changing the Board of Trustees meeting dates.
Change, right?
October.
Under this, board members, we are scheduled to go to New York for our meeting where we're supposed to get some kind of award, right, for diversity. So what days are we looking at?
So again, to elaborate on Judge Haggerty's comments, the college is the Western Region recipient of the Equity Award, and the college will be up for the National Award at the National Conference of the Association of Community College Trustees in New York the week of October the 24th. So we have submitted a possible date. October 20th is a Thursday. As a possibility, obviously, we're want to make sure that that works for the board.
Anybody have a problem with the 20th? Nope. Nobody? Okay, October 20th will be our meeting for October at 4:30. And our November meeting?
The month of November and is obviously Thanksgiving. The board traditional meeting would have been on November the 23rd. And so we would suggest to the board consideration of hosting that meeting on Wednesday, November 30th.
Does anybody have a problem with the 30th?
I have a conflict on that day. But you're all.
Thank you.
Thursday the 1st.
Want to go with November 30th?
As long as it works for the rest of the board.
Okay.
I could do it
Is there-
remotely. I could participate remotely, so.
If there is a 30th date, is there an alternative date we suggest that might, that would be acceptable?
What day is the 30th?
It's a Wednesday, Judge Harity.
Can we meet on Tuesday, the 29th?
Absolutely.
Would that work, Christie?
Would that work for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Minute?
Tuesday's fine.
Okay, either way.
And the 29th, November? And Christmas, we usually don't have a meeting till early January.
That is correct, Judge. Should we need a December meeting, then we would suggest the week of December the 12th. And should we need one, I would suggest any day that week is fine, but considering
Anybody have
the board.
any problem with the 12th of December if we do need to have a meeting?
I'm okay with that.
That's a,
It's a Monday. The week of the 12th, we could meet the traditional date of Wednesday on the 14th, whatever works for the board.
everybody has a problem. Monday is,
The 12th?
I know, but that's NFL day, that's.
Es el día de la Virgen de Guadalupe. What do you mean?
I don't watch football, but
Yeah, if the Cowboys are not playing on Monday, what difference does it make?
I'm just saying. Let's do it the 13th, Tuesday the 13th. That should take us up to the end of the year, right?
Yes, sir.
If needed, yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? Oh, we don't need a motion on it, do we? We need a motion on it, Pam, on those dates? Counselor?
Legal counsel is saying yes.
All right, do I have a motion for those dates to have our
Sorry.
meetings?
Yes, sir.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye?
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Okay. Item 1.10, Board Reports. Item 1.10.1, Treasurer's Report. There is none this month. Item 1.10.2, President's Report. Item 1.10.2.1, Dr. William Serrata, College President, will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at the college to include an update on the COVID-19 pandemic and appropriate actions taken.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, EPCC's completed the on-site visit portion of the decennial SAC-COC reaffirmation of the accreditation process. Throughout the week of September 12th, representatives from peer colleges visited many of our campuses and off-campus instructional sites. They met with our faculty, staff, administrators, students, as well as some members of our board. I'm pleased to report that the visit went well. Preliminary findings suggest EPCC remains in compliance with all core requirements. We have 2 recommendations that the college will follow up on. The process of accreditation is a team responsibility and would not be possible without everyone's ongoing cooperation. Thank you to all of our administrators, faculty, and staff for working every day to ensure that we are following EPCC's policies, procedures, as well as SAC-COC standards. Because of your efforts, EPCC remains the best place to start and finish. Thank you to everyone who participated in the visit. I'd like to acknowledge the leadership of Dr. Julie Penley, our Vice President of Research, Accreditation, and Planning, for serving as our SAC-COC liaison and overseeing this effort on behalf of the college. Special thanks to Ms. Rebecca Bell, Ms. Christy Frescas, Ms. Mary Beth Hahn, Dr. Yvette Huerta, Dr. Carol Kay, and Dr. Andy Quiroz. Dr. Penley and her team have been instrumental in leading this process, and they will be reaching out as follow-up steps are required. Thank you, Dr. Penley. Continuing my congratulations, I'd like to report that the college has received the 2022 Higher Education Excellence in Diversity Award, the HEED Award from Insight into Diversity magazine. It is the oldest and largest diversity-focused publication in higher education. As a recipient of the annual HEED Award, a national honor recognizing U.S. colleges and universities that demonstrate an outstanding commitment to diversity and inclusion, EPCC will be featured along with 102 other recipients in the November 2022 issue of the magazine. This is the 10th year in a row that EPCC has been named a HEED Award recipient. Insight into Diversity magazine selected the college because of its work to foster and promote cultural awareness and respect not only among employees, but also among our students in the surrounding El Paso community. Kudos to Lee Vasquez and Luz de los Reyes for continuing their hard work and determination. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I would like to share that our EPCC cosmetology and nail technology programs partnered with El Paso hospitals for the annual Power of Pink event. EPCC students and faculty showed their EPCC pride and made a wonderful day for area breast cancer patients and survivors. The EPCC cosmetology students and nail technology participated by performing glamour treatments to breast cancer survivors and patients prior to a professional photo session. Their Power of Pink is a community project which is organized to promote their beauty, create heightened awareness about the issue of breast cancer, and teach those that are newly facing a breast cancer diagnosis that survivorship is possible. Photos of these powerful moments are later displayed at local hospitals. Thank you to Ms. Cecilia Dominguez, our cosmetology coordinator, and cosmetology and nail tech students for the kind, thoughtful, and important services provided. EPCC joined the nation in celebrating National Arts and Education Week, September 11th through the 17th, by recognizing the transformative power of the arts in education. The celebration is designated to bring attention to this cause for elected officials and educational decision makers across the country, and to support equitable access to the arts for all students. Arts education supports the social and emotional well-being of young people in a community by empowering self-awareness, self-efficacy, self-management, and perseverance. Social awareness and relationship skills are central to any arts education activity, no matter the age and ability of the student or the environment in which the learning takes place. In order to continue expanding the college's partnerships with the different school districts in the El Paso region, EPCC offered a Counseling Expo Day, where different counselors from all El Paso high schools were able to attend and find out firsthand essentials for their schools and, above all, for their graduating students. A guided tour of the Valle Verde campus was part of this day, where departments such as admissions and financial aid were able to guide over 150 participants and provide updated information on new student processes. Following this, at the Administrative Services Center, 6 presentations with vital information that future graduates will need once they decide to embark on their college path. EPCC departments such as Students with Disabilities Center, Career and Transfer Services, and Workforce and Continuing Education, among others, provided a presentation to the attendees. A big thank you to all of those involved for providing important information for soon-to-be graduates, including Dr. Amaya Dimbadillo and their respective teams. The cross-country teams had a great start to their season at the Laurie Fitzgerald Memorial Open. The men's team finished first, and Adams Biwat winning the race, and the women finished second with the 2021 NJCAA National Champion Faith Niati leading the Tejanas. EPCC was competing against area universities and community colleges. Tejana Alondra Valles also finished in 7th place, making it into the top 10. Congratulations to our Tejanos and Tejanas. Your efforts on and off the field are outstanding. Dr. Maria Alvarez, a professor of biology, recently co-authored a publication entitled Diversifying the Genomic Data Science Research Community, which was published in the scientific journal Genome Research. EPCC is a member of the Genomic Data Science Community Network, which helps students and faculty identify opportunities and broaden access to genomic data science. Warmest congratulations to Dr. Alvarez on her achievement. Hispanic Heritage Month began on September 15th, and I'm happy to report that the festivities have also begun. Mission del Paso held its annual resource fair with the theme of El 16 de Septiembre, where students are able to learn about the different programs at the campus. The Diversity and Inclusion Programs hosted the 21st Annual Hispanic Heritage Month Fiesta with the theme Unidos, Inclusivity for a Stronger Nation. The fiesta took place at the Valle Verde Annex, where there were performances from Arturo Guerrero, singer for La Voz Mexico, folklorico, dancers, mariachis, and many more. We thank Mr. Chivi Orduña, a spoken word artist, for being the keynote speaker, and Ms. Carla Mariscal, Telemundo 48 news anchor, for hosting. We look forward to more celebrations, and if anyone is interested in attending, we encourage everyone to look for the times and locations of these events on the calendar on the EPCC website. In collaboration with the Campus Life and Quality Enhancement Plan, the QEP, the Counseling Department organized the Back to School Bash and campus involvement fairs at every campus. Counselors and advisors were selected from each campus to assist with the event. Counseling was instrumental in securing the event's location and resources. Each campus had a set theme in which Campus Life and our QEP team both gave student giveaways. All events were extremely successful as students learned about our resources and were engaged. Thank you to everyone who made this event memorable and helpful to our students, Dr. Mitchell and her team. Since the last board meeting, I've participated in over 60 virtual and/or in-person meetings, including 8 Texas Association of Community College meetings, 3 TAC officer meetings, a discussion on the Texas Community College Finance Commission recommendations, a TAC Executive Committee meeting, 2 TAC CEO-only meetings, a TAC officers meeting with Commissioner Keller. I visited all campuses with Dr. Smith at the start of the semester. It was great to see students back on campuses taking advantage of our new facilities. Attended a Central Business Association luncheon with guest speaker Congresswoman Veronica Escobar. Thank you to Ms. Sanchez, Mrs. Robles, and Ms. Naira for representing the board. Attended an El Paso branch of the Dallas Federal Reserve Board of Directors meeting. Attended a virtual event from the Federal Reserve Bank to introduce Ms. Lori Logan, the new president and CEO for the Dallas Federal Reserve Bank. Participated in navigating the first year of the presidency prep call for the Aspen Institute. I participated in the Aspen capstone presentation. Attended a webinar seminar on implementing and scaling 8-week courses. Attended a SAC COC Principals Review Committee meeting. Participated in a Seal of Excelencia recertified president's call with Sarita Brown, the president of Excelencia in Education. We hosted a legislative breakfast for State Senator Cesar Blanco to discuss the college's legislative agenda and priorities. Thank you to Judge Haggerty, Dr. Graham, and Mrs. Robles for joining us. I met with Judge Ana Perez and Dr. Smith regarding our court reporting program. Held my first State of the College address in person post-pandemic on Professional Development Day. We had 321 staff members attend here at the ASC auditorium. We also streamed it live at each campus and had over 900 views on YouTube. It was a great pleasure to see so many friendly and familiar faces. Participated in the Southwest President's Roundtable discussion and presented at the Greater Texas Foundation Board Retreat in Austin, where we discussed the COVID pandemic, the Great Resignation, and implications for higher education. Transitioning to my COVID report, I would like to conclude by providing the board a COVID update. Given the city and county changes in reporting, this month's COVID report will follow what we've discussed since August. We'll cover our daily cases and how that compares to our last report. our vaccination rates, and our hospitalization rate. Fortunately, we continue to see a downward trend in daily cases. We're currently averaging 57 cases per day, which is substantially lower than the 103 cases we averaged the prior 2-week period, and also below the 297 cases we averaged the previous 2-week period. We currently stand at 83.5% of our population age 5 and older that's been fully vaccinated, 99.9% of our population having received their first vaccination. The 7-day average hospitalization rate is now reported daily. It currently stands at 2%. To summarize, our daily cases continue to decline, averaging 57 per day. Vaccinations are slowly increasing. As a reminder, the metric that's the most significant is the 7-day average hospitalization rate, which currently stands at 2%. The benchmark for this rate is 15%. Should we approach 15% in our community, then we will adjust accordingly. My recommendation to the board is that we continue in phase 4 of our return to campus plan, which we have been in since Monday, August 15th. As a reminder, phase 4 of our return to campus plan has the college operating at full capacity. We will continue to monitor the data and keep the Board of Trustees informed of any recommended changes for your consideration. And I'm happy to answer any questions that any board member may have, Chair.
I don't have any questions, Dr. Serrata, but I'd like to take a minute to thank you for your leadership in making sure that we had everything ready for the accreditation visit. I think that we received, as board members, plenty of information that prepared us for answering questions and for understanding the complexity of what the accreditation team was looking for. So thank you for getting all of that ready and getting your staff all our ducks in a row to do so well. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, Dr. Graham.
Anyone else? Thank you, Doctor. Okay, Pam, 1.11.
Item 1.11, consent docket. Please note this includes item 3.2.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call a question?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 2.0, administration, there's none. Section 3, personnel, item 3.1, discussion and action to approve full-time staff and faculty recruited in positions funded by the institutional budget.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call a question?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 3.3, information items, resignations and retirements. No action is required. Section 4, financial services. Item 4.1, discussion and action on the approval of a contract award to American Databank LLC for drug screening, background check, and compliance logging services in an amount not to exceed $72,000.
Move to approve. Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. In reading that, come back in here, and under the explanation, in the end of the first paragraph under explanation, it said, additionally, college employees occupying certain sensitive positions throughout the college must be background checked and/or drug tested. And I'm curious, what do we have that's sensitive, and number one, and number two, maybe for Dr. Penley, do we have a policy, what's the relevant policies? So first of all, what's so sensitive about what we have? And number two, if it's sensitive, do we have a policy on it?
So, Mr. Axer, for example, in my area, we have the cashiers. Any new positions, that is, for example, the comptroller would be a sensitive type of position because that person has access to our bank accounts. So therefore, that the person that occupies that position should be background check. We want to make sure, obviously, we are hiring somebody who is ethical and who has not had any problem with the law. Cashiers fall in that category. We also have our allied health faculty, and of course our students. Our students that are in allied health, and I think Dr. Smith can respond to that much better than I can. But certainly, those students are required for the hospitals in which they participate for their course of study to be background checked.
Okay, does that include the drug, and does that also apply to the drug testing? Is that it?
I believe so.
Okay, I'm curious, go ahead.
Chair Haggerty, Mr. Uxer, board members, yes.
Okay.
The requirements that the hospital provide or require include a background check and drug testing as part of their clinical assignments.
So that's generally what this policy would apply to, that particular area.
For that area, to do the drug test, the background checks, we also do background checks for employees as well, and we'll be doing the motor vehicle record checks as well.
Is that for all employees?
The background checks are for all new employees, promoted, transferred, full-time and part-time employees.
And drug test, and it includes, okay.
We have the ability to do drug testing. At this time, sir, we're not doing any drug testing other than those positions that we mentioned earlier.
That are required by an outside agency, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
I have one question. Counselor, do we get any kind of trouble if we do sole source? Do we have a policy that says we can do that? That we don't have to put it out to bid?
A policy regarding sole sources?
Yeah, in other words, you're saying this is sole source. We're not opening this up to other people to bid on the contract.
There is a policy, unfortunately, I can't pull that number up off the top of my head, but we do have the ability within TASB in certain circumstances to make exceptions to the policy for this type of purchase, yes.
Okay, so we're not going to get in any kind of trouble.
No.
Okay. My other question. Any other questions? Other question?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggard.
Aye.
Section 5, Physical Facilities, Item 5.1, Discussion and Action on the Approval to Award a Contract to API National Service Group for the replacement of the new fire alarm system at the Trans Mountain campus in an amount not to exceed $395,322.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Well, just out of curiosity, is there any kind of warranty, mainly, I'm sure there's a warranty, but life expectation for this kind of system? How long do we expect it to last, et cetera, et cetera?
Good evening, everyone. I would expect I really can't answer that question, but luckily I did bring the API, and I'm sure he can answer that for us. Could you please step up here?
I'm Joshua Arpin with Western States, which also is API NSG. It does come with a 1-year warranty. Typical electronics are about 5 years, 10 years, depending on the maintenance on the system itself.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you, sir.
Any other question? Other question?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 6, Curriculum and Instruction, Item 6.1, Discussion and Action on the Approval of an Agreement with Lumen Learning to continue to provide open educational resources courses in an amount not to exceed $165,500 per year.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? Other question?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 6.2, discussion and action on the acceptance of an apprenticeship training program grant from the Texas Workforce Commission in the amount of $151,393.
Move to approve 6.2 and 6.3.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I'll read item 6.3. Item 6.3, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant from the American Library Association in the amount of $7,000.
Any discussion? Dr. Smith, do these people just ring our telephone up and say, this is your money, or does someone here from the college apply for these grants?
Chair Haggerty, I wish it was that easy, but no, we've got a number of folks that have worked pretty hard to bring in these resources. So for the first grant, of course, we have AVP Blaine Primazich in the room, along with Dr. Carmen Aguilar-Gerner. But as Fernie was mentioning, we must shout out to the grants office as well. They do a fabulous job of helping us and keeping us straight on the funding, et cetera. And then on the library grant, you may recognize the name Laura Ambreese. She's the head librarian out at Northwest Campus. You might remember the picture of her standing in front of pallets of books that you saw at the last board meeting. And so she continues to do great work out there under the direction of Dr. Mitchell.
As a matter of appreciation, could we have those people just stand up so we could recognize the tall guy in the back?
Absolutely.
Like I say every month, just keep up the good work and keep applying for more and more. Use all the money we can get. Thank you, Dr. Smith. Call a question, Pam.
Mr. Ruxer?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Section 7, Student Services, Item 7.1, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for new courses.
Move to approve 7.1 and 7.2.
Second.
You're E7 Pam?
Yes, sir. Item 7.2, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for revised courses.
Any discussion? Call the questions.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye. Now we'll go in executive.
The Board of Trustees may conduct an executive or closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons: consultation with its attorney to seek or receive legal advice, or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation, or for any purpose authorized by law, discussion about the value or transfer of real property, discussion about a prospective gift or donation, consideration of specific personnel matters, discussion about security personnel or devices, or discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce that it will go into executive session on any item listed on this agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session. Item 1.3.1, discussion with legal counsel regarding pending litigation styled Martha Quinones versus El Paso County Community College District and Hector Ariola in the 448th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas. Clause number 2018 DCV 2171 pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.2, discussion with legal counsel regarding an employee in the physical plant department pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Discussion with legal counsel regarding redistricting pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. The time is 6:02, and the board is now in executive session.
All right, we're back from out of executive session. The board meeting will resume. We have a couple of issues that we still have to vote on. Pam, can you read 9.1, I believe?
9.1.1?
Yes, 1.9.
Give me 1 second.
1.9.1.
The time is 7:07. The board is reconvened in regular session. The first item is item 1.9.1, discussion and take possible action regarding Martha Quinones versus El Paso County Community College District and Hector Ariola in the 448th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Texas, cause number 2018 DCV 2171.
Have a motion?
Motion to move forward and approve the settlement agreement under the terms as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Nojeda? Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item
And 1 point, what's the
9.2.
physical plan?
You ready, want me to read item 1.9.2? No.
Yes, ma'am. No action, right? Go ahead and read it, Pam.
Item 1.9.2, discussion and take possible action regarding an employee in the physical plant department.
No action.
No action. Okay. I want to remind everyone that during the board meeting, we decided that the next board meeting is going to be October 20th at 4:30 right here at the Building A.
You have a special board meeting on
And we
Wednesday.
have a special board meeting on October 5th at 4 o'clock. Anything else for the good of the cause? I have a motion for adjournment.
So made.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll see you on the 5th.
We've given up. We've given up.
Thank you, Bob.
We just go with the flow.
Thank you.